Hey guys, Legion here. In today's video, I will be doing a updated weapons tier list for Jinwoo in solo leveling Arise. It has been a while since I made the last tier list. A lot has changed since then, so today I'm going to be going over all the SR and SSR weapons for Jinwoo. Okay, so I pulled up my last tier list. Here it is. This is pretty much how my last video ended. So now I'm just going to reset the tier list and I'm going to go over every weapon from here. It will be easier this way so I can talk about each weapon on their own. Alright, so first off we have this green hammer. I'm going to put this in A tier. It is a very powerful weapon with a lot of shielding capabilities, and also it keeps your team alive and yourself alive as well. The only downside is that it is super slow. Next up is West Wind. This weapon is kinda crazy. I think it's the best SR wind weapon in the game, if not the best SR of the game. For sure try this weapon out if you have it, guys. Like, it's really broken. I'm gonna put this in broken tier, almost on par with SSR weapons, and actually it's even better than half the SSR weapons in my opinion. And using a sniper rifle is actually really cool to use, so yeah guys. Alright, now next up is the SR weapon that I can put in broken tier. It's going to be the Fire Orb. I've been using this weapon since I started the game, and it is very broken. The effect on it do so much, and you get so much AoE damage, and it's by far one of the best fire weapons in the game, let alone the best SR weapon in the game. I'd say these two SRs right here are like the top SRs for sure. You won't see any better SRs in my opinion. Okay, this weapon, I'm not sure where to put this. I might just put this in B tier. At the top of B tier, I think it's a pretty good spot for it because it's still a good weapon, but it's very reliant on getting ascensions and duplicates. So for that reason, I'll put this in B tier. It is not really free to play friendly at all, unless you get really lucky. Okay, this weapon, this dart gun, is pretty damn good. I'm gonna put this in S tier. It's called the Black Hawk, which is crazy. It helps your QTE cooldown and does a lot of damage, and the ult is really satisfying to use as well. Alright, the Grimoire, I'm gonna put this in A tier. Still a very good fire SR weapon, but does not compare to other fire weapons like the Orb. But it is still a good option if you don't have it. Next up is the Frostbite Sword. I'm going to put this in A tier. It is a decent ice weapon, good for debuffs. Now the Longbow, I'd say this weapon is pretty underrated in my opinion. I'd say bows are actually really good in this game. Anything that's long range is actually really helpful to help you stay longer alive in fights. But the bow also does pretty good damage, and it is being a light weapon, so gives it a good element and a cut above the other elements. So for that reason, I'm going to put this in S tier. Okay, next up, Naga. This will be put in S tier. One of the best water weapons in the game for sure. But next up is the Kasaka Blade. The core skill on it is crazy, does lots of bleed damage, and as we know, bleed is kind of OP in this game. So for that reason, I'm going to put this in S tier. Even bleed makes SR units like Kang become broken, so that is a really strong mechanic. Alright, so lots of changing since the last tier list, I would say, but this being more of an endgame tier list, or since I had more time to play the game, a lot of weapons have found to be better use. Alright, next up is the Javelin. I'm going to put this in A tier. Very good and great damage, but the ult is kind of crazy because you can spam it. So for that reason, it is, I would say, top of A tier or second. Now this free light weapon, I'm going to put this in OP tier. Such a good weapon to be given for free. And light weapons are kind of crazy in this game. So it's really nice that we got this for free. Alright, Night Killer Blade. I'm going to put this in B tier. Gives decent penetration and has a decay effect. But other than that, the damage is kind of mid. It is underwhelming at times. I would say you need duplicates to make this work, but I'm not a fan of that because that is very luck reliant, unless you will. Now for the flame sword, I'm gonna put this in B tier. It is a very good but very reliant on specific situations. So you have to stay in the area it provides to do damage. Kind of bad for early game, but it does become a little more viable at the end game once you upgrade it. Alright, now for broadsword. This weapon is just bad. The animation is really slow and the damage is very underwhelming. You guys let me know if you guys had any good luck with this weapon, because for me it is very bad. So I'm gonna put this at the bottom tier. I would say test it out if you like it, but for me I hated this weapon. Okay, now I'm gonna go to the SSRs. This is where the good stuff happens. Okay, now to the good stuff, the SSR weapons. This is the big tiers. Now I'm gonna start with my favorite weapon, the plume sword. This will remain the best weapon in the game for sure. Remains in SS tier. It is very broken, we all know that. And as well as the scythe, I could add the scythe right beside it actually, because this is actually another broken weapon. But now for the longsword, unfortunately I'm gonna put this in B tier. Being a SSR weapon, it is very underwhelming at times. Okay, now the huntsman. This is a crazy light weapon, for sure better than the scythe I would say. So I would put the scythe number 3rd, and this will be put in the number 2 spot. Yeah, I don't think the scythe is better than the huntsman, but it is very dependent on how many duplicates that you got, because I would say the scythe does get better the more duplicates you have. And if you have more duplicates on the scythe, then I would say it is better than the huntsman for the effect that it gives. But for now, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm not making a full whale tier list. I want everyone to relate to this tier list. So we'll see how it goes in the next tier list. I might do a complete whale tier list. But for now, this is how I'm gonna put this. Next up, the Vulcan Rage. This can be put in not A tier. I would say top of S tier. Still a very good weapon, but I don't think it is better than the SR aboves. So last one is the Grimoire. This weapon still remains to be one of the worst weapons in the game in my opinion. Just kidding, I would say it's still broken, but I'm gonna put this at the bottom of the broken tier. I do not see it being better than the other SRs. These two SRs are so just goddamn good in my opinion, so I don't see it being better. So if I double check real quick, I think everything looks fine. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with anything in this tier list. Keep in mind this is just my opinion from playing and testing every weapon in the game in multiple scenarios. So yeah guys, let me know. And I've tried to do this tier list for free-to-plays as well. So if you have free-to-play pride, let me know, because I should be the only guy that should be praised in this community for helping free-to-play players. But yeah guys, this concludes this Jinwoo weapons tier list. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.